Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, everybody. I'm your host, Stephen Topham, Hatt the third, at your service. We're going to be talking about something really, really worthwhile, right? We're going to put you, all of you, 8 billion people plus more, right, in a position where what you think you don't often know, right? Right? Let's take it for example, right? A lot of people thought the K2s are dead. Now, the K2s are what you call Edwards class, right? A lot of you will think they don't exist. There's only one that's in the museum. Excuse me, there's a few things that the Norfolk area are hiding from the public, right? Which acknowledges what I have in my hand that can also express the frustration you all going through at this moment, right? Knowing where you want to be from 5 years from now or 2 years from now, I want you to feel comfortable, right? But that's not the problem here. It's about an engine that they can get going. Now, a lot of you might think I've gone a little bit balmy or whatever. It's no lie whatsoever, right? A lot of you know the K2s quite well, as you know it's Edwards class, right? One of my own engines is hiding in their backyard. And you're asking yourself, the K2s don't exist. We only got a Y70, Y7 or whatever the J15 class is, right? A lot of people don't put the two together before they can even say jack, right? The Norfolk Railway are hiding an engine from the public. Why? It's because they are ashamed. They are ashamed that they're not acknowledging that straight off from the horse's mouth since the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. They all knew about it, but they kept the gobs quiet about it, right? There is one engine that can be converted into a K2 standard. Now, a K2 is Edwards class. We all know that Edward is very old ironish, as old iron as we used to know him, as we all call him, as Edward, of course. And then people are saying, we haven't got a K2 here, we got a J15 here, or Y7, Y14, or Y17, whatever. We know exactly what engine needs to be converted to get a K2. Now, that the Norfolk Railway can't see the hidden secrets they have hiding. Why? Because they're deaf, dumb, and stupid to realise they have an engine that's even can converted to K2 standard. So, when you look back and realise there's no K2s left, except the one in the museum, obviously, right? And hanged up, my ad. So it can't be one, it can't be doing nothing, right? The Norfolk Railway are too blind to see the reality of what they already got in their possession. So I'm not laughing. I'm being dead serious on this. So realistically, who's lost out? The Norfolk Railway, because the North Western Railway Company already knew about it. Right? We're not laughing, we're not joking, and we're not going to kid on this one, right? A K2 is in the Norfolk Railway, but no one's put the pieces together to realise, holy smokes, we could do a K2? Oh shit! How do we build a K2 out of the engines? Look at the parts, look at the connections. It's all there, black and white. Even my connections from around the globe all know this. 8 billion people know about it. Why? The North Norfolk Railway are blind as a bat. So what did they do? They screw up. So when they got a B12 and Ryan's class, Hazel, the full rack, and then they ended up taking away the black prints from you, and they can't acknowledge they can fix it themselves. Right? They're too lazy. So what did they do? While you're sitting down and listening to this podcast, they are the extraordinariest dumbasses I ever seen. Why? Because they are one of the kind of people that cannot see it. Realistically, the NNR hiding from the public because they are ashamed. They don't even realise how lucky they are because they got something they can do rather than a want. Right? So they sit down and they say, "Oh, there's a way, there's a will, and there's a way, right? For everything, right? There's no way there's such as I can't in this world, right? We acknowledge that. The North Norfolk Railway are hiding from the public was a K2 engine. Now, how can you convert one of their engines to a K2, an old iron class? Now, think about it. I'm going to give you some time on this because this is real information. This is not bullshit, right? A K2 on the North Norfolk Railway, and they don't even realise they got it. That's how stupid the staff are, as dumb as they are, and they couldn't put the pieces together to realise, shit, he knows a lot more. I know what's in those engines workshops. I know exactly what they're building half the time, right? All they do is look after the engines, right? One of those engines in that facility has the ability to be converted into another engine. Why? What is the catch of the not a gimmick? It's not a false information. This is reality information, and it's true because it's all in the pudding. What? You know what I mean? From my last podcast, and acknowledging you to like the NNR are hiding something from you, right? So we're gonna acknowledge that they got a K2 class engine on their premises at Weybourne /Marin Station, right? I'm gonna prove there's a lot of trust and there's a lot of proof. The blueprints of the K2 will acknowledge to the engineers that they can build a K2 not for complete scratch, but how to convert an engine to that engine. So it's like saying you're not taking it all apart, you're not taking this apart. You may have to reconvert certain bits, right? When you have the blueprints of the K2 like I do, I know everything you've got on that premises, right? I know the B12's blueprints. I know the JC 15 templates. I know everything, right? I acknowledge what I can give you. The only thing you did not realise that you did not have was a K2. And you got a K2 hidden on the North Norfolk Railway. You are blind as a bat. It doesn't take a genius to reconvert it to another format, right? The North Norfolk Railway are hiding because they're ashamed. They know they are in the wrong. They know they put you under pressure, upset a lot of people, even pissed off a lot of people, right? I wanted you to be acknowledged. There's another engine on that bloody on that railway you're not aware of, right? It's one of the oldest engines you will ever have on in the North Norfolk Railway, and it's been hiding from you, from the website, everything. Right? I'm not lying. I'm putting the truth to you. You've been acknowledged now by me to say you got a K2 on that premises. Right? But you got the engineers and all of that are going to look into this, right? And they're not going to be stupid then. They're going to start using their brains a little bit. How did he know there was a K2 on the bloody railway? Right? I'm going to say I want bullshit by the bush. Right? That K2 is available on the North Norfolk Railway, but you've got to work out what engine goes well with that. Right? A K2 is easy to build when you know how to build it. Right? A lot of people say, what would make you think here? This is a thinking game now. This is reality of everything, right? We know there's a K2 in the museum, and we know there's a K2 available on the North Norfolk Railway in hiding. But you've got to work out what engine can be converted into a K2 instantly. So you've got to work out, right, the engine, right, a colleague or a private connection of, on the other side of the globe said, you've got a K2 in hiding. That's what he said on the North Norfolk Railway. Right, hiding from the public for a very, very long time, right? This is no bullshit, right? This is all realistic information. I want you to understand you've been misdeceived, right? Because the North Norfolk Railway thought the engines they got in their area right now, right? The J15, you got the other engines as well, obviously, and you don't even realise. Tick, 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 tick. Go down the line, and you're working it out and working it out, and you've got to realise there is one engine that can be converted into a K2. Right? We all call a K2 very similar engine, right? We know what it looks like, right? Let me just put this in perspectively. I'm now going to get the information. Right? The K2, right, that we look up to, right, was part of the Furness Railway 21 class, Myriad, classified K2, right, which is one of the seagulls, Myriad, and a birth. What does it make? Do you understand? Right? You got a Furness Railway class on the North Norfolk Railway without knowing it. It used to run from Glasgow for the Furness Railway. Six were built in 1896 and two more in 1900. Right? We always knew that we all knew that one of the engines based at the North Norfolk Railway can be converted into a K2 if you know what you're doing, right? I'm not bullshitting by the bush on this one, right? Right? So, as I'm going to be quoting, and I quote, Edward's class is based on a K2, an Edwardian 440 type is a fairly common design pattern in the British Railway steam locomotives in history. However, Edward differs in his cab, a dual glazed side windows, as much as it's a more characteristic feature for the North Eastern Railway locomotives. This is why I said I want bullshit, right? So when you realise you got a K2 that you can actually build directly at the North Norfolk Railway, they say it's all scrapped. What a load of bullshit, right? But they are called the largest seagulls by nickname. Now, when you got a, a Furness class, that's a K2 class on the North Norfolk Railway, and you don't even know it, just realising that I bet all the engineers at the North Norfolk Railway don't even realise don't give a shit, right? I say, look again, because there's always an engine that's gonna outwit you, right? So a Furness Railway class, a K2 class, a larger Seagull, right? Furness Railway class, 21 class, is on the North Norfolk Railway in hiding, which is called a K2 class. Now, imagine if they can get the specs or the blueprints, they can readapt one of those engines on the North Norfolk Railway to be the K2 class that everybody needs. Now, that will put the North Norfolk Railway to shame, number one, and number two, it was hiding from the public for safeguarding. And then people were asked, how did you know there was a hidden class right on our platforms? I said, I know everything that the North Norfolk Railway knows, but I tend to give out the information if required. Right? The North Norfolk Railway engineers, all the bloody employees or employers are all going to be pissing themselves because they did not realise how stupid they were. This is how. This is why the North Norfolk Railway is losing money, right? What happened if a K2 was travelling along the 5 mile route, right? Everybody will be like shocked, drop jawed, and they will say, "What shit?" Right? You got to be realistic. You have to be really upfront on this. This is not a game, and it will never be in any angle. So when there is a K2 available on the North Norfolk Railway, when the North Norfolk Railway goes to the public and says, right, let's say a public member says to the North Norfolk Railway, have you got a K2 available? The North Norfolk Railway will end up saying no. It's a bullshit lie. Because there is blueprints of the K2 that will back you up 100%, right? Knowing how to convert it into a K2 class without a bloody problem, right? The North Norfolk Railway will end up saying to the public, we don't own a K2. And that's a load of lie and it's a bullshit, right? So when you look at your certain classes, they look identical to a point, right? All you have to do is change a bit of this, change a bit of that. You get what I mean? It's like a jigsaw puzzle. So when people ask if you got a K2 on the platform, or it doesn't look like it at first because it needs to be altered, bang! People will end up realising, I bet the North Norfolk Railway administration team or admin team or the management are pissing themselves silly and did not even realise what they got. They screwed themselves up, right? So the North Norfolk Railway was hiding from the public was a K2 class. Now, you as a public are going to realise, holy smokes, it's reality of everything you get. It's what you're getting, right? I push to give you really useful information, but at the same time, I have to work twice as hard to tell you the North Norfolk Railway are hiding from the public. And what is the North Norfolk Railway hiding from the public? Because it's the title to give out to say there's a K2 at the North Norfolk Railway in hiding. Why? Because the North Norfolk Railway don't know what engine it is. Until they click their heads up in their brains and realise, what does he mean by that? A K2 exists on the North Norfolk Railway without you knowing it. Right? So when you look at the blueprints of the K2 or something like that, you know, then they will start ticking. As I stated earlier, they will think. And what happens? Bang! A K2 is right on their doorstep or on the rails. Right? So all the North Norfolk Railway has to do will take them into the engineer shop and alter what needs to be altered. Right? And then pay presto, a K2 Edwards class at the helm. Right? All you had to do is understand and look, because the K2 was right under your noses for a flaming long time. And I will not bullshit by the bush. Right? So the K2 is on the railway and it's in hiding. Why? Because the community probably have worked it out, but the North Norfolk Railway or the NWR can't even work it out this very day. What does he mean, a K2 Seagull class? I'm telling you now, if you really look at it, if you look at Edwards class compared to a J15, all there is a few little modifications. Right? A lot of people think the K2 is not at the North Norfolk Railway. Think again. Because it's all realistic information, right? All you have to do is look at the blueprints and be realistic. Because in the day, when I look at the J15, it runs on the 440 configuration, right? The boiler is the same. I'm not going to say there's no changes in that. The cab, ding ding. The tender needs changing as well. Ding ding. And then pay presto. But the tender they're using is the same one that Edward uses. So work it out. What is a North Norfolk Railway hiding from the public? Was a K2 class engine. Right under their noses and the North Norfolk Railway are probably pissing in their pants. Because it's reality of what you cannot see is blind as a bat to you. And now you've got your little answer saying, how did you know about the North Norfolk Railway's engines and everything else? I said the Hatts know everything. Right? All we had to do was unlock everything. I see Edward on a most occasion, right? Not as an engine, but everybody says the engine is there. I can hear it. I can whistle it and I can understand it. Right? When people say, right, the NNR is hiding something from you, which is the public, like yourself, the community, and everything else, I will state to you for the record that they're hiding a K2 class, Furness class, railway class, K2 class. So work it out and realise he's not kidding. And I will not bullshit by the bush. They got a K2 at the railway. And they're lying through the website and they're lying to your face and say we don't own a K2 or we haven't got a K2. I said bullshit that. Look at the blueprints and realise they got something. I could give them something what that will shut them up. Right? They don't like the truth. The 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 proof is in the pudding in all of this. Because it's all true. Because when you work out, there's a lot of engines out there in the world that have a similar configuration, spoiler setup, cab setup, and tender setup, all have similarities, right? But all you have to do is convert it. Ding ding. Now, if the engineers get off their high horses for once in their lives to realise the North Norfolk Railway are basically ready to actually realise that they have got something in their possession. But they screwed up big time because they hurt the public so badly and the community as a whole and realised I think they're gonna be pissing in their pants, excuse my French, and realise they got a K2 at the North Norfolk Railway. Because it's the truth. It's the honesty of it. So when they are thinking about it and really think about it logically, the management will close the railway down. Why? Because they didn't think and did not realise they had something that they could done a lot better of. We all know that the J15 and the Y14 or whatever, when you look at that engine and really think what could be changed to make it look like a K2 class, right? That's the bottom line. But you have to be realistic. There are engines at the North Norfolk Railway that will fit the bloody damn bill. So when the North Norfolk Railway are probably having their drinks right now because it's 16:11 at say 4:11 p.m. in the afternoon on a Friday evening, nearly ready to be shutting up doors and don't give a shit, right? Right when they realise what they got is something that they can really bring the 19th century old locomotive back on the rails, right? They don't have to use the one that's in the museum, right? I acknowledge that's stiff and solid. That's never gonna move, right? But when they put their minds together and realise a J15 or a Y14 or something like that, and they will click, 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 and put the blueprints of the K2 together and work out a strategy to work around it, right? The NNR owns a bloody K2 on the premises at Marin/Wayborn, and then they will start thinking twice, and they will think twice and say, "Oh shit." They will they will get really cocky. I'm gonna be honest. The next day, on a Saturday, which would be the 4th of the actual month of of April, or or May, bang, it will click. So when you think about it, when they wake up tomorrow morning, they're gonna forget about this podcast because they will not be interested, right? But when I will say you got something you never told the public, right? I'm not lying to anyone. There's a K2 on the North Norfolk Railway, but they haven't worked out how to change or modify what needs to be changed, and that's what really will get them in the stitches, and they will end up not thinking about it twice when I've been acknowledged by a private connection and myself. I will say this for the record. North Norfolk Railway hasn't grown up since 2019. So work it forward, keep going forward with all of our problems, with all of the problem we had throughout the whole UK and everything else, and they're ending up saying, we got these engines, we got this engine, we got that engine, and they don't even realise they got a hidden one under their belts. So are they clever? The answer is no. Right? So you have to be realistic. You know you got the engine. You know you got the modifications to do it. You just basically are too lazy, too stupid to realise you got a K2 on the railway. Right? You're lying to the community right now, saying, "Oh, we had this bloody documentary, and we watched it at 6:30 and that was on BBC. And I'm be honest with you on this one, and I don't have to look on Facebook for this or nothing like that. And I acknowledged and I acknowledged and I acknowledged. I said the proof is in the pudding, and you're getting your just desserts. So work it out, North Norfolk Railway. You're not as clever as you thought you are. So realistically, when you've got an engine that is already on the premises, a K2 Furness class, now work that out in your heads. Don't drink, don't smoke, start thinking. Because you will, if you're clear-headed in the morning, you will think about it. You probably laugh your heads off, like always, and ending up saying, how did you know, or I know, how did I know you got a K2 class on the rails, but not on the driving motive yet? A few things have to be modified to get your blood pumping going. I don't like people hiding what they like the North Norfolk Railway as a whole or the NWR. No, the NWR of us ourselves know what we got, and the NNR doesn't know nothing bugger all at all. So when they got these engines and acknowledge that they got an engine and they had thought about it for 70, 80, 90. All the original G2 team knows what they got, right? In their possession, right? Right? Since 2016, 17 and 18 and 19, right to 2019 onwards, right? We're not looking back, we're going forward. You got a K2 on that on the railway. You may not see it because you haven't made the modifications to do it. So you got a K2, a Y14 or a J15 might give you a little hint, but you or the engineer who probably is at the engine's workshop and never thought about it and thought, holy smokes, we could convert one of our own engines to a bloody K2 class. Then you can work around that. But get real. There's a fact, there's truth, and there's a proof in the pudding. So you can't say I'm a lying type person because I'm not a liar. I look at you directly in the eye and tell the truth, right? There is a K2 at the North Norfolk Railway. If anybody says, like the North Norfolk Railway says, no, we haven't, I said, don't lie to them because they will say you're untrustworthy, right? The public will then lose your trust because I just given out information that they weren't physically aware of, and now you got the bombshell, right? The North Norfolk Railway got a bombshell because they got a K2 class right on their railway, and they didn't even know that. Thank you very much.